In the Arctic northern Russia lies the Nenets, an indigenous people native to Siberia. The Nenets are known for their dependence on their reindeer herds. These reindeer serve as food, clothing, tools, transportation, and lots more for the Nenet Herders, who migrate more than 1,000 kilometers across the tundra every year with 300,000 reindeer. In this video, we'll delve into the hearts of their nomadic lifestyle. Location. The Yamal Peninsula is one of the least well-known but most significant parts of the Russian Federation. Yamal means the end of the world in the native language of the Nenets, and being so close to the Arctic, it is indeed the end of the world to the people that live there. The Yamal Nenets Autonomous District, YNAO, has a territory almost 1.5 times the size of France. It is situated just northeast of the physical boundary between Europe and Asia above the Arctic Circle in the north of West Siberia. The region is filled with huge gas resources. That's about a fourth of the world's known reserves hidden beneath the grasslands. History. In the first millennium BC, the Proto-Samoyeds moved to the Arctic from the Altai region near Mongolia. When they arrived there, they interbred with the Aboriginal Arctic people, and this brought about the Nenets. The Aboriginal people are regarded as Nenets legends and are also called Shiria, and live in slightly different groups that live underground. As for the Nenets, they occupy a wide range of territory from the Kanet Peninsula to the Timur Peninsula, with most of them living on the Yamal Peninsula. The Nenets came in contact with Russian fur traders during the 11th century AD. This contact resulted in them experiencing a few military or tax-collecting raids, but it was a mostly peaceful relationship. The private fur traders respected the Nenet culture and had no interest in overthrowing them. The peaceful contact was likely because both sides thought they were deceiving the other. The Russians gave the Nenets metals that were worthless to them, and the Nenets gave furs that were worthless. Both sides assumed they were giving something worthless and receiving a fortune in return. To the Russians, the Nenets' territories were the Midnight's land. To the Nenets, the Russians were children of the underworld lord, but it was the beginning of their lifelong relationship. Throughout history, the Nenets have faced various challenges and interactions with other cultures. In the way of Nenet Herders. The nomadic Nenets live in conical reindeer hide tents, which are referred to as chums. Their outfit consists of 2 fur jackets with attached fur gloves, fur hoods, and fur boots. All these are made from reindeer fur. Every summer, the Nenets women use reindeer sinew as a thread to create new outfits for everyone from the hides of reindeer they killed over time. Everything the Nenet use come from their reindeer and natural material like wood and stones. Their lassos and ropes are made from reindeer rawhide. Reindeer harnesses are made from rawhide and parts of the reindeer bone. Sleds are made with wood and wood only, with no use of any metals or nails in their production. Even the traditional Nenet tools that a Nenet reindeer herder uses are made mostly organic. For food, the Nenets enjoy eating reindeer meat and blood. They eat and drink it raw and directly from the carcass of a freshly killed reindeer. The process of killing the reindeer is quite specific. A rope is placed and tied around its neck, and its head is turned towards the east, after which it's strangled by 2 to 3 people. Each person pulls one end of the rope until the reindeer suffocates and dies. The hide of the reindeer is then immediately removed and left to dry. It's from this hide that the women make the clothes. The women then cut open the reindeer and everyone gathers around it on the ground. They tear out various parts like the liver, kidney, and heart and begin to eat them there. Using a cup, everyone drinks the reindeer's blood directly from its carcass. Parts like the sinew and bones are later cut up precisely and carried to their chums. A lot of groups of Nenet herders have winter pastures farther south and summer pastures farther north. They traverse the region on reindeer-drawn sleds with all their camp belongings. Men often pull a single sled pulled by 4 reindeer while controlling the animals with a korai, a long wooden stick. An argish, or long train of 6 or 7 sleds, is driven by women and children. 2 reindeer pull each other and 4 reindeer pull the front sled of the argish. The southern Yamal Peninsula Nenets are the subgroup most visitors usually stay with. They have the largest herds and longest migration routes of all the Nenets herders. In the summer, you can find them at the far north of the Yamal Peninsula. In the winter, they do not stay on the peninsula but stay in the southeast, specifically across the Gulf of Ob in the Nadim region. When moving camp, the chums are disassembled and placed onto sleds pulled by specially trained to transport reindeer. When they find a suitable location to set up camp where the herd can be easily rounded up, the head of the group sticks his korai into the ground at the place where he wants the center of his chum to be. While the women and children start the migration on Argish, the men driving their sleds drive the reindeer herd off. Then everyone begins unloading sedges, releasing reindeer, and assembling chums with the head chum always in the far right position as viewed from behind, and all of the chums' entrances pointing in the same direction. Reindeers. Another distinct reindeer type is the hand-raised, orphaned reindeer. These reindeer are taken into chums and raised until they can fend for themselves. They are never killed but are given away to another family when they are too old to walk. The family it's given to then kills it and then gives one of its hand-raised reindeer in return. These reindeer are allowed to coexist and roam freely between humans and the community in which they were nurtured for the entirety of their lives. They're also allowed to consume human food like bread. Language. Amongst themselves, the Nenets speak a language that is from the same family as Estonian or Finnish, but which is not related to Russian. The Nenets' language may be split into two main groups: Forest Nenets and Tundra Nenets. The Tundra Nenets is further subdivided into 11 mutually intelligible sub-dialects. During the late Sateen era, all students were sent to Soviet boarding schools and Russian was the only language taught. As a result, nearly every Nenets person under the age of 50 speaks Russian fluently. Despite the predominant language of the Arctic being the Tundra Nenets dialect, meaningful communication with the markets would be impossible without fluent Russian. Beliefs. In certain Arctic regions, shamanism is still practiced, but only in small groups since shamans frequently fear being recognized by others. The indigenous deities, who are symbolized by dolls carried on sacred sleds, are the center of the Nenets' animist belief system. Other dolls are copies of relatives, with the old woman of the chum guarding their home being the oldest. The dolls are kept in their own sleeping area in the house, and when their assistance is required, they may be given vodka or blood. The sled is occasionally anointed with recently killed reindeer blood, but for the most part, local deities are left alone. The Yamal Tundra is also home to a dense network of sacred sites, most of which are located in the far north. It is at these locations where wooden dolls from sacred sleds are occasionally exchanged. Folklore is performed in stories and songs to preserve the old Nenets' ancestors' wisdom. Such music does not involve instruments, and only shamans utilized drums to aid in their trance-like states. Nowadays, folklore and storytelling are dwindling, with reading and listening to current literature and music taking precedence. Attractions. The ideal time of year for tourists to visit is around late March, which coincides with the Reindeer Herder Festival. Every year during the final weekend in March, the Reindeer Herder Festival takes place on the frozen river O by Selekar. Hundreds of Nenets go from the nearby tundra in order to participate in traditional events like reindeer lassoing and reindeer sled races. Modern challenges faced by the Nenets. Despite the fact the Nenets survived the early Russian colonization of Siberia, they are threatened now by modern challenges like climate change and the development of oil and gas fields in the far north. The Arctic's climate is changing. Temperatures keep increasing and the permafrost on the tundra thaws, which leads to the release of greenhouse gases. Now, ice melts earlier in the spring and does not freeze until much later in the fall. Herders are now being compelled to alter the reindeer's centuries-old migration patterns because the reindeer find it challenging to traverse a landscape without snow. The vegetation of the tundra, which is the only source of food for reindeer, is also affected by the rising temperatures. Due to climate change and the industrialization of their territory, the indigenous Nenets are fighting for their own existence. Thank you for watching. Would you like to visit the tundra home of the Nenets someday? Let us know in the comments section. If you've not done so, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Until next time.